I'm alive. I'm alive, everyone. I promise. I'm alive. I'm sorry. I have been away. I had the flu. I still got some of it. But this is the most I've felt like getting out of bed and actually like doing anything. I even took time off from work. Took 3 days off from work. Shit. And then when the last time I went live was within the next day, I felt like absolute ugh. Like, dude, if y'all get the flu, go to the doctor. Like, as soon as you feel sick and you feel like you got fever, chills, aches, the whole 9 yards, go to the doctor and go ahead and get you some Tamiflu. Because as soon as he gave me that Tamiflu, I started feeling better. So I appreciate y'all sticking it out with me. We are up to 3,700 subscribers because of you guys. And well, I mean, obviously because of me, because I'm putting out content, but because of you guys' support, we have gotten up to 3,700 subscribers. Because of you guys liking, commenting, helps to get the algorithm out there. Y'all continue to do that. I am feeling 10 times better, back to a little bit of normalcy. So I'm glad to be here. I got a long show for you guys today, and I'm going to be completely transparent with you guys today. There is no holding back onto what I have to say today, and we've got a lot of topics to talk about. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. We're going to be talking about this Bears game. That's the first topic today. We're going to talk about Bryce's performance. We're going to talk about my winners and losers, changes that need to be made, individuals that need to be held responsible. Something has to change because we're going to compare Frank Reich doing the play calling, and we're going to compare Thomas Brown doing the play calling. Then we're going to talk about this special ed. Then we're going to talk about maybe this happening, maybe this happening. And then we're going to talk about draft prospects from in the wide receiver position, because obviously that is one of the biggest needs we need. Marcos Cash, did you get the flu shot? No, I did not. You know why I don't get the flu shot, guys? You know why? Because every time I get the flu shot, I get the flu. But every time but this is the first time since I was probably 10 years old that I've gotten the flu without getting the flu shot. Now, over the years, obviously when I was younger, I got the flu shot and I didn't get it. So fair. But I would say out of the 3 times that I've had it, and I've had the flu shot and it never works. So I never had the flu or the flu shot. Hey, man. Well, Marcos, good for you. I never get sick. I have an immune system of a horse. All right. Like, I just never get sick. But when I do get sick, it's all out. All right. It's like nothing. It's all or nothing. Okay. Literally. Like, it's like, okay, you're going to be sick, but you're going to be sick. Like, you're going to be bedridden for at least 2 to 3 days. So it sucks. And I never got COVID, and I never had the COVID shot. I'll admit to that. I don't care. That's up to y'all, the whole COVID thing, but let's not get into that. But I never got COVID and I never got the COVID shot. So, some of us are just blessed and some of us aren't. But boy, do I have a good show today for you guys. I'm so glad to be back. I'm glad to see y'all in here. Make sure, as you're coming in, guys, make sure you pound that like button, all right? Pound the ever-living shit out of that like button for me, okay? It goes a long way. You don't understand, all right? That is the best thing you can do to help me out, because of you doing that, that's why we're at 3,700 subscribers, almost to the 5K that I want to reach before the end of the season. And we're literally 1,300 away from that. All right. So make sure you pound that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Got a great show for you today. Thank you, everyone that's been patient with me, letting me heal and come back and ready to roll, man. I am just ready to roll. So let's get right into it. First things first. Yeah. Let's talk about last Thursday's game, because I didn't really get to talk about it with you guys, and then we're going to get into the other topics, okay? Again, a disastrous season, disastrous game with just one win in their 9 games so far. So the thing is with the Bears game, again, penalties, all right? It was the reason why we lost this game. Again, I have come on this show and have told you guys multiple times the reason why we lose games is because we shoot ourselves in the foot, okay? We had a strong start, but the Panthers struggled to keep up with the Bears as well. Bryce had a chance to tie and take the lead late in that game, but was tricked by linebacker Jack Sanborn, who was dropping into coverage, nearly intercepted it. And then, unfortunately for the Carolina, the kick fell short, putting the game on ice. Frank Reich, knowing the fact that Eddie Pinheiro cannot kick that ball, was just like, yeah, go out there, try to kick a 60-yard field goal. Eddie Pinheiro does not have the leg for that. He might have 55, 56 in him, but he ain't got no 60 plus leg. All right. He just doesn't. Okay. You should have just went for it on 4th down, in my opinion, but that's neither here nor there. Okay. I never expected this team to make a serious playoff run, but I never expected them to have this poor of a start. And it has raised a lot of questions for me for this team. Because how can an offensive line that was so dominant last season, right, regress so quickly? Okay. Another thing is, how can an all-star coaching staff, the Avengers, right, fail to find answers for everything that has gone wrong in the first half of the season? How can the Panthers expect Bryce Young to succeed with a less than ideal supporting cast? Okay. Another one. Why is there no creativity in this offensive play calling despite the change at the bye week? What has happened? Because for me as a fan, analysts out there are asking all these questions too. Because, however, the biggest question is, how much patience does David Tepper really have? How much does he have? How much does he have left? My impatience are done. And I know y'all's are too. So you can't tell me you're not. Okay. The Panthers mortgage their future to go up 8 spots in the draft to secure Bryce Young. Okay. And for the deal to come to fruition that they were looking for, they had to part with their top playmaker in DJ Moore. Right. And then very few around the league believe the Panthers had enough on the roster to make a true run at the playoffs. Now, I'll sit here and say that I did predict this team to go 10-6. And I will admit that I thought we could win the NFC South with this team, because looking at the other teams, I just didn't think that talent-wise, at least from the defensive standpoint, if they could stay healthy, this team could win the NFC South. I truly admitted that. And I am eating my crow cold-heartedly. I mean, this thing is about as dry as a camel's dick, okay? Let's be honest, okay? And this is a poor start that has raised even more questions, okay, going on, okay? Tepper was all in on making that trade. Whether we want to believe it or not, I think now it's just like Elizabeth said in that comment above, right? It's just like Elizabeth said in this comment above. This is the perfect comment right here, okay? She said it. David needs to look in the mirror. He chose to keep Fitter after firing Rule. Correct. He invoked his way to get Bryce over CJ Stroud. So now he's got to look in the mirror and saying, why did I, look at what CJ Stroud's doing. Look what I chose to go after because I think I know what I'm doing, when he doesn't, right? When he needs to be working on the market side, money side, stay in his office, go play golf, go hang out with your hot wife, whatever, deal with that kind of stuff. Let the football operations be football operations and let them handle it, okay? But then you chose to hire Frank Reich when Steve Wilkes literally almost took this team and won the NFC South last year. And then you chose to go with Frank Reich because you knew that Frank Reich would say, yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Tepper. Yes, sir, Mr. Tepper. Anything you want, Mr. Tepper. That's the reason why we're here. because we know that that's the reason why Tepper, but he knows that Steve Wilkes wasn't going to be like that. He knows Steve Wilkes was not going to be a yes man kind of guy. So now he's getting away with it, right? And now look where we're at because of this guy. There's 14 people watching. There's no reason why we shouldn't have 14 likes, guys. Make sure you pound that like button as you're coming in. I've been sick with the flu. So, the more likes, the more it's going to make me happier. All right. So make sure you pound that like button. All right. It's one click away and it's free. And it helps out it helps get my channel out to others that maybe don't know who I am. And that's what we want to do, because I want to be able to grow this family that I've built here for the past 3 years. I want to continue to grow this family with you guys. So make sure you pound that like button, because that's what this is. It's a family. So again, Tepper may have no other option. Okay. If things do not improve, instead of continue to regress, right, throughout the season, Tepper may have no other option. When a team has had such a terrible season, no job is safe like this. There's no job that's safe. Okay. Including Scott Fitter and Frank Reich. Looking back at all the trades, signings, contract Fitter has made, because we're going to dive more into Fitter here shortly. Okay. Decisions that Fitter has made, there is more bad than good. There's only 7 players, I think, on this roster that we have left through the years, that over how many players that he's drafted. There's only 7 players here, and we've cut most of them. And then we've got some that are injured, right? The move, like I said, for Fitter, he passed up on Patrick Surtain. He passed up on guys like Micah Parsons. You chose J.C. Horn. Look how that turned out for you. That's just a perfect example of why Scott Fitter should be fired. And I'm a J.C. Horn fan because I'm a Gamecock fan, unfortunately. And I think J.C. Horn could be like a Patrick Surtain, but he can't stay healthy, right? So that the move that could prove the most costly now is the one that he made with the Bears to get in the position to draft Bryce Young. And now us fans and ownership have to be hoping for a resurgence in some way, shape, or form. But things aren't looking good for this team at the moment, guys. And we know that. I mean, it is what it is. But, I'm not holding back today. So make sure you pound that like button, guys. I greatly appreciate it. There's not 20 people watching, only 11 likes. Let's get this up. Pound that like button like it owes you money. Come on. We're on the road to 5K. We're at 3,700 subscribers. Y'all have been awesome. So I really appreciate it. And I appreciate everyone's patience with me being sick and everything. Someone should get fired today. You're no lie. I mean, Jimbo Fisher got fired today from Texas A&M. They need to do something. Well, we're going to talk about more what they need to do. The only thing we have is Derek Brown. You're right. I want Fitter fired so bad. He has ruined our team with poor trades, worse draft picks. Exactly, Vietnam. We got fleeced. James, I love the bag with the sad face on it. And is that a Miles Sanders jersey on him? That's awesome. James, I love that picture. Y'all do know a new GM will want his own coach and own QB. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's fine, because guess what, Marcos? I like I said, I want to start this thing from the ground up. I want to clean house. And because that's what it's going to take. If we don't clean house now, it's going to be another 5 years. If we clean house now, it'll be 3 years. If we do it now, the 3 years time is now. It can be. But if we wait, it's going to be another 5 years. The more we sit here and continue to do what we're doing, it's going to be longer time before it gets any better. Nah, maybe new coach, but we have Bryce for the next few years. Josh, I just don't know, man. We'll see. All right, let's talk. Since we're getting into Bryce, let's talk about his performance, because there's some things I need to say. And we're going to break down this game film too, guys. Not today. We'll do it tomorrow, but we're going to do the game film breakdown. All right, I promise. Today's going to be a lot of just I made a bunch of PowerPoints. We got like 10 PowerPoints we're going to be going over. So, but again, Bryce struggles again in prime time. He did it against the Saints in Monday night. Now he's doing it again on a Thursday night. Again, another terrible performance. I think it's just a lackluster performance, right? And unfortunately, he and the team, it fell short. It's not just him. All right, the offense struggles, and it's questionable with the personnel that we have. There's just so many issues with this team. I can't put all the blame on Bryce. Okay, we can say Bryce is not it, and that's fine. I'm still 50-50 with it right now. And the reason why I'm still 50-50 with it is because of just how terrible this organization is. Because I think that Bryce is literally so confused because of the personnel issues. I literally think Bryce is literally confused. I think he's just they're going out there when they switched up from Frank Reich to Thomas Brown back, the first 6 games. And we're going to dive into that because I'm going to show you the 6 games that Frank Reich coached and what his stats look like what Bryce's stats look like. And then we're going to look at the averages of when Thomas Brown coached the last 3 games. So we're going to break that down to just show you the difference, okay? But it's not all Bryce's fault, okay? Bryce, there is some things. Like we've said before in the past, he holds on to the ball too long. He doesn't make quick decisions quick enough. He doesn't just throw it to the check down. He doesn't. I think there is some height. I think the height issue is starting to come about. Like he's not seeing over the line. So that's another reason. But I will say in this Bear game, we did. Marco's Cash, that could be your issue too. I see your comment down there, brother. Yeah, I see your comment down there. That could be an issue too. But again, I think that's a confusion issue. I think it's a confusion issue when it's personnel. He should be able to read these defenses. But yet again, when you've switched up the playbooks, now everything is confusing. Now I get it. After the bye week, yeah, that was a great performance. But let's talk about it, all right? So again, mobility. All right. Now again, we were just talking about his small size, right? How small he is. But he did showcase his mobility and ability to escape the pocket when plays didn't develop as expected, right? And given his receivers and ability to create separation, again, that's still another issue that we have. This should be his preferred method of keeping the chains moving. I think what he was doing with that mobility right there, what we saw, was what we needed to see a lot more of. Now, again, restricted first half. He had an uneven first half with the offense looking, again, disjointed once again. And this is one of the league's worst defensive units against the pass. Now, Carolina relied heavily on the run game. And I was really surprised about that. But Young missed several opportunities to make plays downfield and appeared uncomfortable in the pocket. He just does not seem comfortable back there. But how can you? You can't trust this offensive line to protect him. We've seen that. That's another issue, right? Y'all know that. The offensive line is a huge issue. I've never seen a unit that finished top 10 last year to regress to probably one of the worst this year. And Bradley Bozeman is one of the guys that we're going to talk about today who might need to think about putting his cleats up. Okay. Well, Chris Mack, we're going to break down the game film. I appreciate you letting me know that, but I'm going to break the game film down tomorrow. I don't have time to do it today, but I appreciate you letting me know that. I'm going to break the game film down tomorrow. Of course, he probably looked hesitant and scared. That he can't. The problem is with him is you can't. When you don't have time to throw the ball and it's been constant pressure throughout the year, this is going to happen. This is going to happen. It has not been good. Yeah, and it's an issue that we need to talk. We'll talk about more. But again, confidence. The overall demeanor and body language of Bryce Young just shows no confidence whatsoever, right? Because It's obviously due to the struggles of the Panthers offense. And fans are beginning to question whether this is the beginning to affect his mentality on the field, which I think it is. I think we're ruining this guy. Even if we want to say he's not it and people want to believe that, that's fine. Okay. I'm not willing to just give up on that because of how many issues there are with this team, right? The team must provide more support if they want to turn him into that franchise guy, right? And number 4, it's just needs for change. Needs for change. You have a chance to win the game on a final drive. Then you have a costly error from Bryce Young, okay? And a questionable coaching decision that I think doomed us to yet another defeat. And with David Tepper watching the team continue to struggle, who was at Soldier Field, now the speculation is growing about potential changes within this organization. I mean, he has glimpses of potential. We've seen that. But again, the Panthers have to make significant improvements across the board if they hope to develop this kid. But I just don't know if that's going to be the case. I just don't know. This kid might end up turning to another Sam Darnold at the rate that he's going. This kid's going to start seeing ghosts everywhere if he's not already. Guys, make sure you pound that like button. I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Love to hear y'all's comments. So make sure you get in the comment section. Feel free to chat it up amongst yourselves. And I promise I'll get to your comments if it's, if it's not directly towards me, if y'all are just chatting, but I promise. Bryce does have time to throw, but he is so damn slow with his drop back. Marcos Cash. Like I said, we'll break down the game film. I didn't get to do a lot for the Indianapolis game last week, and so I wanted to get everything I can about this Chicago out, but we'll definitely break the game film down tomorrow, because we need to see with our own eyes. I'll be surprised if no one is fired this week. I won't be surprised that no one's not, honestly, at this point. I don't expect this front office to do anything correctly anymore. That's why I hope they got a new GM, and we have to be able to draft talent. I'm telling you, man, Adam Peters over there in San Francisco, the assistant GM, you better get on the phone with him. Get that man over here. They have built the offense around what Bryce does well. It looks like an offense CJ Stroud will run well. It's like they made the playbook for CJ but drafted Bryce. Chris, that's probably what they did. Honestly, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm willing to say that they might have, because there's no telling. Again, I've just never seen a coaching staff that seems to have forgotten about everything about coaching and coaching football. I'll be honest. That's the way it looks to me. And Bryce looks confused as sin. He has no protection. He's having issues of his own. But then again, look at everything around him. This whole organization is a clusterfuck. That's what this is. It's a cluster. This whole organization. All right. All right. So winners and losers of that game, I got a Smith-Marsette. He did something. He finally proved some worth in week 10. He had a punt return for a touchdown in the first quarter, which was exactly what the Panthers needed to turn the game around. Marsette's absence from the wide receiver rotation, everybody's been wondering and has been puzzling, but his performance should make the Panthers maybe see what role he can be considered here. All right. I'll give him some credit. I'm not going to be like, well, this guy's going to be a game changer. I'm not going to say he's going to make us any better in the wide receiver room. At this point, you might as well throw guys out there that we haven't played enough and see what you got. Bradley Bozeman, you're a big fat loser. All right. Again, I saw you and Throckmorton double team a man in Indianapolis. Y'all both got blown by. That man got sacked. All right, Bryce got sacked. Okay. Another thing, same thing happened in Chicago. That you are supposed to be the leader of this offensive line. And once again, you're the weak link. He does not fit well in the zone blocking scheme. This team does not fit well in zone blocking. That's an issue. The schemes do not fit these players, guys. I've been saying it. Styles win fight. I'm going to say this again. In the UFC, styles wins fight. Does it not? It does. It's proven. Schemes in the NFL fit certain players, and zone blocking scheme does not fit these players. It's an issue. You have to make some alternatives here if you want to improve. So if the zone blocking scheme isn't working, it's time to change it up. James Campen, Thomas Brown, Frank Reich, Sean Jefferson, Deuce Staley. Who else am I missing on the offense? I mean, the list. I feel like I've listed off most of the guys on the offense. I think. Who else am I missing? I said Thomas Brown, but anyways, he's just not. But Bozeman's talented, but he's just not delivering, man. And it could be Bozeman's getting there up there in age, which could be part of it, but also it could be the fact that this zone blocking scheme, you ever thought that maybe it just does not work? You ever thought about that? I mean, another winner, I'm going to give to Dante Jackson, man. I have been a critic of him all season, but these past couple games, he has stepped up. I will say that. He has played exceptionally well. He played exceptionally well in this game. Now, granted, he was going against Tyson Bagent, but he was instrumental in keeping the Bears wide receivers in check. He prevented big plays. I thought his performance was well impressive, and especially considering the Panthers were missing several figures on the defense. So I'm going to give credit where credit is due. Okay. Again, loser. The reason why I got Thomas Brown up there is the Carolina Panthers offense. Once again, the main reason of our defeat. The offensive line is a disaster. Bryce Young is unable to find rhythm. Pass catchers were simply just not good enough. The coaching staff system concepts are uninspiring and ineffective. And the Panthers front office, Scott Fitter, needs to take responsibility of this team's poor performance, and they got to make significant changes to improve this offense, okay? Number 3, that's why I got our special teams coordinator up there, all right? He's a winner, okay? He's a winner, right? Because what he was able to, the special teams played well in this game. Smith-Marsette had a punt return, all right? That was basically the highlight of the game for us. And the unit also performed well in other areas, all right? But special teams has been consistent, has been impressive throughout the season. And this is really, what's crazy is I'm hyping up our special teams, and that's a problem. When I'm hyping up our special teams, it's probably our best group besides our defense. And there have been only a few bright spots in these losses. Right? Now, loser number 3, and I didn't put it up there, but it's the coaching staff besides the defense and the special teams. It's basically all the coaching staff that deals with the offense. Every last one of them. Okay? This team has failed to inspire that coaching staff on the offensive side has failed to inspire this team and make the necessary adjustments during the games and before the games, after games, anything that has to do with the games. Offense are not effective. This team lacked energy, motivation. This coaching staff needs to take responsibility of this team's poor performance, but so does Scott Fitterer. And the significant changes have to be done. Again, significant changes need to be done, David Tepper. I can't explain it enough. I can't keep it as simple as that. So these are the changes that need to be made, though. Pass rush, offensive line, number one. We can't do anything about the quarterback position, so I'm not even going to mention that, okay? Because you're stuck with Bryce at least 3 years. We're stuck with Bryce until next year and another year, okay? Number two, pass rush, and number three, wide receiver talent, okay? I think we need to rebuild Trey Burns, whoever we want to get picks in the first and second round, get a new GM, new head coach. Then if Bryce doesn't play well again, then draft a new quarterback. Chris Mack, like I said, I'm ready to clean house. I'm ready to do a fire sale, and I'm ready to start from the bottom and work this thing all the way up. And that means you fire your GM, you fire this coaching staff, you get rid of players' contracts that are killing the cap space. Whoever the new GM comes in handles that. Make sure that we don't kill ourselves in dead cap. And then you make trades with the players that you know you're going to get value for, and you only pick certain players to build around. And I've already named the guys that I'm already building around. So, I think Evero has done a good job with everything that's gone on. Honestly, too, Chris, I'm right there with you. I think that he's done a hell of a job, even with the injuries and everything. It's crazy. I think he's done very well. Hey, Mad Chatter, there's promises are not always kept, man. Fit and scouts need to go. And then we're going to talk about that, who needs to be held accountable. We need that Madden rebuild video. Well, I'm going to do a live stream of it. So y'all are going to get and it's going to be like a series. It's not going to be, Chris, if we do the Madden rebuild, it's going to be a series. We ain't going to do it all in one thing. Because, I mean, if y'all do it, do y'all want me to play the games? Like, obviously I'd be playing against the computer, but do you want me to play like the games? And I can do like the full game, or I can do just like the quick moments, like in Madden if you play it, skip over CJ may be the biggest blunder in NFL. You're not lying, man. You're not lying. Lance Morrison, maybe we get really lucky and Drake Mays decides to stay in school and Bryce sucks again. Lance, if that happens, I would shit my pants. I'd shit my pants. I say that all the time, and I'm like, I'm never gonna shit my pants. I would play the offense after the 2024 draft in Madden. Oh, I got you. I see what you're saying. Tepper messed up real bad. Took an undersized QB with limitations over a 6'4" behemoth. Yep. And here's the thing, guys. I didn't want Bryce. I've came on here and said it before. I wanted Anthony Richardson because of just the upside that he had and his size. But, it's neither here nor there. And, that's where we're at, Pistons D. Guys, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. We got 25 people watching. Only got 21 likes. Let's make sure we rack those likes up. And make sure y'all continue to get in the comment section. Love to hear y'all's thoughts as we go throughout today's episode. Bryce is talented. Bryce is talented. This team is not good overall, and Bryce is rookie. Again, guys, I think there's just a whole, again, I'm going to tell you this again. I'm going to keep it very simple for everybody to understand. This organization is a clusterfuck. Okay? It doesn't start with just Bryce. It starts from the owner, the GM, this coaching staff, all of it, scouts, all right? And then it works itself all the way down. It's a cluster. Give up additional first and seconds. Yeah. I'm not going to go. Listen, y'all are saying stuff I haven't said either, man. Y'all are saying stuff I haven't said either. But again, so these are the changes that need to be made, though, because the offensive line is a major concern. We had a strong showing in 2022. The injuries and a decline in production have left us just exposed, man. This unit lacks depth. Making it difficult to counteract injuries, right? Bryce Young, you try to give Bryce Young the best chance to succeed here, but we know that was a bunch of bullshit. And the Panthers need to make significant improvements to their offensive line this offseason. All right. Starting with finding players who are better suited to the zone blocking and pass protection. That's where you start. Okay. Again, these offensive linemen do not fit this scheme. They just don't. And Bradley Bozeman's one of them that's showing that. Throckmorton is one of them that's showing that. Okay. Number two, the pass rush has been inconsistent. Brian Burns being the only standout performer in this situation. Okay. They need to find productive pass rushers to complement Burns, generate pressure in opposing backfields. Now, when YGM was on the field, I would say that maybe there was more consistency there because him on the opposite side of Burns, we saw that, but him being injured doesn't help, right? But this will require with the pass rush, you're going to have some creative thinking. And the Panthers are not rich in draft capital or cap space, but they can be. I've gone over that. Remember, if we got rid of Dante Jackson, Hayden Hurst, Ian Thomas, and there's one more. There's one more guy that I always forget. There's one more guy that I always forget that could help with our dead cap space. Or contract-wise. But there's one more guy. We could save $17 million next year. Just saying. All right. But, again, these are things that need to be done. Again, another one. Wide receiver talent. Again, a major letdown. You accept Adam Thielen. Terrace Marshall, bust of a second-round pick. It's been a non-factor. DJ Chark. Again, he's likely to be brief unless he can turn this season around. DJ Chark is he is what he is. All right. We have to find a way to bolster up these position groups to help with the development of Young, because at this point we got to stop talking about CJ Stroud. We got to stop talking about Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, whoever we wanted to get, blah, blah, blah. Because at this point, guys, there's no point in talking about it. We fucked up, when not us as fans, our front office and our owner, they messed up, right? They're the ones that chose to go with Bryce Young, right? So we're stuck, all right, until otherwise, okay? So now at this point, you just might as well try to do the best you can with what you got, all right? Because there's nothing else you're going to do, all right? So you got to help Bryce Young with his development and give the team a better chance to compete. That's it. It's time to take action. Make the necessary moves, guys, to address these issues. This team must be bold and decisive in their approach, leaving no stone unturned in the pursuit of improving this team. If they can make the right moves, the Panthers can position themselves for success in the future. But do I trust our owner? Do I trust Scott Fitter to do so and our scouts to make the right choices and everything else? Absolutely not. I absolutely do not. I absolutely do not. Let me get in these chat. Let me get in the chat real quick. I want to see what we got going on here. Chef 85, what's up? Tepper has ruined this franchise. I called it when everyone wanted Richardson gone. Players aren't buying in. The owner will not get out of the way. GM's drafting traits, no production. Pathetic. Chef, thank you for the comment. And I totally agree with you 1,000%. I have tweets from before the draft saying take Stroud, but Bryce is our quarterback, and I'm going to give him time. Josh, I've been saying I wanted Stroud or Anthony Richardson. Those were my top two. I wanted Anthony Richardson out of everyone, but here we are. Again, we can't live in the past anymore, guys. We are stuck with what we got. So now we have to figure out how to make this work or we're going to be a disaster for 7 years. Now, when I say we, I'm talking about our, organization. I figured it out. I know what I think needs to be done, and I think it's right. Whether y'all agree or not, that's okay. But again, we've got a lot of decisions to make because we are, like I said, a clusterfuck of an organization. Agree, Piston. It may be the biggest blunder ever, giving up all that. Yep, it is. It's what's killing us. I've already said that. I've said that. What did scouts see? A guy with a great a Q score, whatever it was. You're listening to you listing these guys like any of them are doing shit anyways. We should have cut Ian Thomas years ago. Yeah, I know. I mean, Lance, I'm not saying that these guys are doing. You're listening to these guys like any of them are doing shit anyways. No, I'm not listening to these guys like they're doing shit. I'm listening to these guys like they're not doing shit. That's what I'm doing. I'm not Lance. I am not saying these guys are doing shit. I'm listening to these guys as if they need to make changes and they need to go. When I said Ian Thomas, when I was saying Dante Jackson, when I was saying Hayden Hurst, I was saying get rid of them for cap space reasons. And it'll help our dead cap and it'll open up $17 million on top of what we have next year. That's what I was talking about. All right. This is historical. I know. I wonder if there's any good centers and left guards in the drafts in the second. We can look into it. I'll definitely look into it. I'm already going to start looking into doing some mock drafts with you guys. The dead last laughing stock. Yep. They saw a guy who could throw an accurate ball and was a winner and didn't throw a lot of interceptions. That was about it. That's the way that's the only thing I can think of. Playing at Alabama under Nick Saban. Can you see us pulling a Cards Rosen situation? Trade Bryce when new coaching staff arrives. 2019 Cards flip Rosen for a second and fifth in 2020 draft. Fit scouts need to. I mean, we could, Chef. We could. It could be a possibility. I mean, that's something that could come about. But I don't know if they're smart enough to make any moves like that. Yeah, I thought they were going to do the march, and they didn't do that. All right, let's move on. So these are the individuals that need to be held accountable for the lackluster performances that we've had lately. All right. Jared Curse. Okay. Jared Curse right here. Okay. To the left. That's Jared Kirksey. If you don't know who he is, you're about to find out. He's the director of college scouting for the Carolina Panthers. The Panthers have struggled in the NFL draft, have they not? With very few success in the recent years, have they not? Kirksey, who has served as the director of college scouting for 3 seasons, this guy must be held accountable for this team's lack of personnel recruitment success. If the Panthers are to make any progress, they need to fire this man. Sean Jefferson, love this guy at the beginning of the season. I really can't say much, I really can't say much bad about him. But again, Bryce Young is definitely on the verge of having a breaking down due to the performance of this offensive line wide receivers. And we're going to get into Mr. James Campen too. But these wide receivers' inability to create separation, despite Adam Thielen, Sean Jefferson has been unable to handle rotations effectively or get the best out of this unit. And Jefferson must be replaced to bring in some positive change, I think. Again, James Campen. The offensive line has regressed considerably this season, and with players such as Akeem Ekwonu, Bradley Bozeman have showed no improvement. Though injuries to Austin Corbett, Brady Christensen definitely don't help, but Campen's inability to make the best out of the bad situations has been a disappointment. Campen must be held accountable for this offensive line's performances, and I'm thinking he's got to be removed too. Okay. Another one, Park Frazier, pass game coordinator. Okay. Park Frazier, that goofy looking shit right there. Okay. He must be held responsible for the Panthers' poor performance this season. Frazier has not been able to make the necessary adjustments to improve this team's passing game, which has been ineffective. Frazier needs to be replaced with someone who can make the necessary changes to bring about a turnaround. And then last but not least, Frank Reich. Again, although it may be a bold decision, which I'm not done with you, Frank Reich, we got a lot more to talk about with you, must be held accountable for this team's poor performance. The team's start to this season has been nothing short of disastrous. Wright has failed to bring any positive change. All he ever says is we got to watch the tape. And if the Panthers are to have any hope of salvaging this season, Wright must be removed of his position as well. I know that these are swift and very tough decisions to make, but to salvage this season, these are the individuals besides GM Scott Fitter and David Tepper. These guys need to be held accountable. And failures, potentially, the axe needs to be thrown and start cutting ties, because a lot of changes need to be made. So something has to change, right? Look at this. Look at these stats, guys. So these are the stats. These are the stats. You see them? Frank Wright in 6 games, 18.6 points per game. Passing yards per game, 221.3. Rushing yards per game, 98. Bryce Young, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. Thomas Brown, when he's play calling, 13.6 points per game. Passing yards, 197.6. Rushing yards per game, 75. Bryce Young, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Okay? So that's what we've seen. Again, Wright was asked about the possibility of taking back the play calling duties. His response was lukewarm and lack conviction. It's time, Frank Reich, to take charge of the offense again, make the necessary changes to get the team back on track. Sorry. Wright is not considering any staff changes, and it's clear that the current approach is not working. This team needs to be way more proactive, which means our owner needs to start click, click, boom, start making phone calls and saying, sir, it's time for a change, and thank you for your time here. I know it was short-lived, but go ahead and tell your wife to pack your shit up and get the fuck out. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. That's what needs to happen. Hey, Scott, you need to tell your wife and kids that you're moving. Why? Oh, well, you're fired. Oh, okay. Thanks. Hey, Frank, tell your wife that you're going to be preaching at another church this year because you're fired. Okay. Okay. Just so you know, okay? So you needed to tell her to go ahead and pack the stuff up. Exactly. That's what needs to be happening right now. We were all solid narratives. Chef's coming in. Frank sounds like Matt Rule. Exactly. Exactly, Chris. It's another thing. It's just no different. Facts. The whole offense sucks. Yeah. We were all solid narratives on Wright and Young. Both have failed. Whatever excuses you give, both have failed. Sell off your assets and rebuild from the ground up. Trade Bryce. Let Dalton start next year. Chef, that is a lot. I don't know about trading Bryce. Who would give up much for Bryce? I don't know. I don't think we're trading. Guys, the trading Bryce thing, it needs to stop. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to be like an Arizona thing with Rosen. It just won't. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Stop gap, quarterback address. The other needs: O-line, corner, wide receivers. Yep. Trading Bryce is ridiculous. I think it's a little ridiculous. I'm serious. A fourth or third? No, I doubt it. I doubt it. This offense is as bad as when Jimmy Clausen was here. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: if I trade Bryce and I'm not getting a second and fifth like they got for Josh Rosen, I wouldn't trade him. I'm just gonna be honest. So I mean, again, we got to make some changes need to be made. Okay, so now we're back to this. And I'm demanding accountability from Mr. David Tepper. I want accountability, okay? Now the Panthers I'm demanding accountability from David Tepper, okay? His reputation for impulsive decision-making, Tepper has yet to make any major moves regarding the Panthers. However, it's time for him to take action if the team doesn't start winning soon. We know that he's impatient, and his previous track record shows that he's willing to make changes when necessary. Frank Reich, general manager Scott Fitter are both on thin ice. If the Panthers don't turn things around quickly, Tepper needs to take action and make these changes at the top. We are fed up with the team's lackluster performance this season. We want Tepper to take responsibility of the situation. The Panthers need to start winning games, and if this means making changes to the coaching staff or front office, then so be it. Again, Tepper can no longer afford to sit back and wait for things to improve overnight. The Panthers need a strong leader who's willing to make tough decisions and take bold actions. It's time for Tepper to step up and deliver change the fans are demanding, or you need to sell the team. End of story. End of story. End of story. So then we get to this slide. There's obviously, with everything going on, he's obviously facing he's facing a precarious situation as murmurs of discontent have transformed into tangible concerns about his tenure, right? The recent report detailing unhappiness among the Carolina, all of us not being unhappy, okay, coupled with the team's performance so far, right? Okay, 8th loss in 9 contests, right? Under the leadership, okay, of a Tyson Bagent Chicago Bears team is unacceptable. With potential consequences if this team does not improve, you got to realize that this needs to be done. Okay? Scott Fitter, as the GM, is not immune to criticism. His bold preseason predictions have backfired catastrophically. Now everybody doubts this man, and I do too, on his ability to assemble a competitive roster. So, while immediate termination is not widely speculated, David Tepper has expressed his frustration with this team's offensive performance and the quality of the playing personnel. Tepper's dissatisfaction of this offensive lack of progress, coupled with criticism of the roster's construction and overall offensive scheme, paints a very grim picture for Fitter's future. Again, if the second half of the regular season mirrors the disappointing performance in the first half of the season, if significant changes within the organization is not made, I will be surprised. Fitter's departure is coming. We're already off to a great start to the second half of the season. You won one game. You beat the Texans, but now we're back where we are, losing games 2 in a row. Lost to the Colts to a backup quarterback. Lost to the Bears, backup quarterback. Tepper has been known to make these decisive moves but not a complete reset. He's never hit the reset button. Okay. He's never hit the complete reset button, and he has to now. Allowing a new general manager to select a head coach personnel, Fitter finds himself in a challenging position because if no improvements are coming, there's a lot of job prospects out there ready to roll. The trade deadline has passed. Okay. All right. They didn't do anything, even given with this team struggles. They didn't try to, they took offers, but obviously nothing was there. Despite being a part of the brain, trust that hired Reich. Fitter's fate rests largely really on Tepper's judgment. I mean, this owner, discontent with the team's trajectory and performance is evident. And the characterization of the offense as boring, predictable, lifeless signals a potential breaking point for Fitter. Tepper history of the moves he's made is definitely questionable. But a desire for progress and could spell trouble for Fitter if this team fails to demonstrate any improvement over the next 8 games. Fitter's hope of salvaging the project he contributed to would dwindle past the point of no return, and a significant shakeup within the organization could be inevitable, which then leads me to my next topic. Will Frank Reich be fired? Because his job security is in jeopardy. It's in question because as this team, again, performance has been terrible, has only won 1 of the first 9 games. And there's several factors that indicate that Frank Reich could be on the hot seat. Because one of the primary concerns is this team's done disciplined play, which has been reflected in their which is reflected. Again, this makes me so fucking mad. They have the second most penalties in the NFL. Again, I told you guys this. Again, no discipline. Second most penalties in the NFL, including a leading offensive line that has had 18 false start penalties. Wright has to take responsibility for that, but so does James Campen. Another issue with this team, personnel failings. Wright had an input on signing and drafting picks. New look offense has been underwhelming, and the players he advocated for may not have been the right fit for the team. The quarterback he helped draft, Bryce Young, whether he wanted him or not, still has yet to prove himself as a reliable starter, in my opinion, which is a cause for concern, whether that's on the coaching staff and the organization or it's on Bryce. Again, this is a clusterfuck of an organization, so I'm not going to put it all on Bryce. This coaching staff's inability to deliver is also a significant concern. I thought we had the Avengers, remember? And despite having a strong team of veteran coaches and former players that know how this goes, this team has struggled to perform consistently on both sides of the ball. The only thing I can say that has been anything decent is our defense and special teams. And the only reason why I'm giving Evero his props is because this team is still somehow ranked in the top. Somehow, I think I saw it the other day, top 10 in something in defense overall somehow, even with all the things that has gone on and the issues that we have and the injuries that we have on the defensive side. But this coaching staff has to take responsibility for not preparing the team properly each and every week. And last thing here, the Panthers lack a conviction in their play. It's so alarming to see this team lack conviction. This team has shown little improvement or any identity. And their negative point differential is a cause of concern. It's clear that this team is not performing up to expectations, and Reich has to be held accountable for that. It's probably too early to say whether Reich will be fired, but these factors suggest that the Panthers front office needs to consider making changes that they hope to salvage this season. Reich must address these issues, find ways to improve this team's performance, and if he wants to keep this job, he better do something. He needs a miracle. He better start, he better start going back to church and preaching, because I don't know what he's going to do. When you got an owner in your ear telling you who you're going to sign, who we should get, what quarterback, what schemes to run, and you're sitting here, yes, sir, yes, sir. All this year's rookie QBs have outplayed Bryce, even Tyson Bagent, who's undrafted rookie, played in Division II ball. Facts, bro. Preach that shit. Panthers are a top-down disaster. Again, cluster. Like I said, we screwed it up. We all knew it. If you're going to keep him, you got to get him in a scheme that works. Zone blocking, etc. It's not working. Stop doing it. Exactly, Chef. Exactly. If you can't understand, we have the worst team surrounding Bryce. I can't help you. Josh, fair. Off-season 2024, we'll see what they do. Scott needs to explain was it him or Tepper? He needs to be fired. Somebody needs to explain something to me. Josh, that's just an excuse. I can give you plenty of reasons why that don't matter. I'm not going to argue with fans that don't understand the situation. Just want to. I get it, guys. I get it. Let's not go after each other. The only people we need to be going after is who made the decisions, who makes the decisions. When he fires Scott, and if not, but when, do you think he will fire Reich and start a clean slate at head coach? I mean, I would. I think that you got a clean house. Again, Panda, I'm a huge believer. I'm not a big, okay, so let me first off say this. I am not a big believer in firing first-year head coaches. I'm not a big believer in that. But I will say that in this kind of situation, if we don't turn anything around and we don't see any progress, again, like I said, if I don't see any progress, I don't see competitive football, which, I mean, we were at least somewhat competitive against Chicago and somewhat, we were competitive against the Texans. But if I don't see any competitive and progress, yeah, you got to. And if we don't win any more games the rest of the season, yeah, you have to make changes. There's no reason for that. The game has changed now. Bryce has never had a losing season until he got here. Do the math. Defense has been very good. They've stepped it up for sure. The only way Frank Reich says if he shocks the world and we beat Dallas, that might not even help. No, Chris, I don't even think if we beat Dallas and that's the only game we win the rest of the season, he's out. You got to win more games. I just don't see that. I just don't see that happening. He needs to hire a Peyton coach that's strong enough to tell Tepper to go away. Yeah. And you got to have a GM to tell him the same thing. Be like, yo, we got this. If CJ can have the year he's having with the Texans, then Bryce can have at least half that success with Carolina. It's not arguing. Marcos Cash, I think that there is too many factors for Bryce to even have a successful season. Not just from a talent standpoint, not from a depth standpoint, injuries. The list goes on with this team, guys. I mean, it's a clusterfuck. It starts from the top down. from your GM, your head coach, the personnel, the coaching staff, the offensive line, the wide receiver room, all of that. It's an issue. It's an issue. All the above, man. It's all the above. At least I thought he was. At least I thought it is a grown man. Everybody can have their right to their opinion, though. No coach can win with this garbage. No, we have the worst wide receiver. Absolutely. Scott needs to go. If nothing else, he's weak to tell Tepper. Yep. Room is okay. We do 22. Yeah, we'll do it, Matt Chatter, tomorrow. We're going to do it tomorrow. Tepper hires yes men. Yep, exactly. I was saying that earlier. He hires guys. That's the reason why we didn't hire. Okay. That's why we didn't hire Steve Wilkes, because he knew, Tepper knew he couldn't walk all over him, because Steve Wilkes would have told his ass, sit your ass down and shut up. I got this. Did you see what I did with this team last year? When we started 1-5 or whatever it was, and we came back and almost won the NFC South? Wright reminds me of Matt Rule. Sanders stinks. Yep, he's gone. Y'all are all frustrated, but don't go after each other. That's all I got to say. All right, let's see here. Bryce, throw that damn ball. I feel you. Texas wide receivers are way better. I mean, they're getting open. But again, that could be a scheme thing, Marcos. Again, we were just talking about it. The scheme doesn't fit this offensive line. The scheme doesn't fit these players. It just doesn't. It just doesn't, guys. It just doesn't. George Safford, 1-15 coach. Right is the same thing minus adding aging vets. That's pretty good there, Chef. The Texans, yes, Texans have good wide receivers. They do. We need T. Higgins in the offseason and a new line. I'm not too sure about T. Higgins. If I'm going after anybody, I'm going after Marquise Brown. He's going to be a guy that we can afford, and he's going to be a middle of the field guy, which Bryce likes to throw to. Then you put Thielen in there. You get those two guys together. Plus, Jonathan Mingo has actually improved, guys. Let's be honest. He's getting targeted more. Like, he's getting targeted, and he's getting catches. I will say, I think Jonathan Mingo has improved. That he actually has. Now, the stats aren't there, but that's a whole nother issue. But he's getting targeted more, which means he's getting open. Tepper is so rich, he probably bought the team for background. Who knows, man? Who knows? If Tepper is not serious, he needs to disclose to hardworking ticket buyers. Yeah, we don't have first-round pick. That's why you said, oh, wait, man, Chatter, I get it. Mingo gets open. He does. That's why his targets have gone up. All right, let's get into the last topic. So here are some wide receiver prospects, guys, that I've been looking into. And at least if we try to go for these guys in the second round, right? Like some of these guys you might get in the third. Maybe Malachi Corley. He might be a 5th-round pick just because he's out of Western Kentucky. But Xavier Leggett definitely could be a 1st-round pick. I know that might be a little biased because of me, but he is a 1st-round kind of talent. He can be, at least from the wide receiver position. Brian Thomas Jr., great wide receiver, good size. These are the ones that I've been looking into because of where we're at position-wise in the draft, okay? These guys are all ballers, man. Like Troy Franklin, he's a junior there. He's only 20 years old. He's a very good prospect. He could find himself, though, in the 1st round of the 2024. He might fall. You never know. He's got 58 catches this year for 946 yards, 10 touchdowns on the year. He has potential to be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. He's 6'2". He's got a thinner wide receiver stature, but certainly would be huge, I think, for the Panthers to get Adonia. I think I'm pronouncing this guy's name right. Adonia Mitchell. I think I'm pronouncing it right. I know who he is, but I just don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He transferred from Georgia. I remember him at Georgia last year. That goes to Texas. Honestly, he's making the most of it. He's 6'4", 190 pounds. He's a prototypical big body receiver. He's got 37 catches for 576 yards, 8 touchdowns in 9 games this season. I think he's a potential first-round candidate as well. But again, these guys are all potential first-round picks, all these wide receivers, but they're all guys that could fall, beneath obviously Marvin Harrison Jr., who's definitely going to be the first wide receiver off the board. The guy's just a freak. Brian Thomas Jr. size is almost hard to believe. This guy is 6'2" and nearly 200 pounds. Now, he's another big body wide receiver. He's definitely got a very high ceiling in the NFL. He's caught 45 passes this year, 768 receiving yards, 11 touchdowns through 9 games this season. He has elite speed. Catch radius is phenomenal. These would be good. These are guys that you could get. It's 10 times easier with Thomas in the mix, I think. It would definitely help out Bryce's job. Now, Xavier Legette, he's a 5th-year senior there in South Carolina. He's truly hit a nice stride this year. Honestly, watching him has been a pleasure. I thought this guy was a bum when he first got here. I didn't think he was going to be anything. But he's got the size and speed, man. I think he runs like a 4. I think I looked it up. Because he's 6'3", 227. And I think I looked up his 40 time, and it was like a 4.29 or something crazy like that. I'll double check. I might be a little off. Might have been like a 4.39 or something, but he's fast. Okay, let's just say that. He's got the overall size and group of turns of height and weight. He's just a big play waiting to happen, and it's happened multiple times throughout the season. Right? He's got speed, explosiveness. If you watch him, we would benefit big time with him as well. He's got 50 receptions. He's got 973 yards, 5 touchdowns this year. He's a big play waiting to happen. And then last but not least, Malachi Corley. Now, he's at a very small, not a big name school, right? He's a junior there, but he's a standout prospect. I've did some research on this kid. He's got 53 catches, 657 yards this year, 8 touchdowns. A smaller size, but he's a different type of receiver who could bring a different element to the Panthers game. So I think this is what we prioritize in the draft, looking at wide receivers like these guys that I think could be potential guys that we could get even though we're not in the first round, right? So these are the guys that I did some homework on. I told y'all I did my homework, man. I had enough time to do so. So I made a long episode for you guys today, and a lot of PowerPoints. Xavier is the one. Xavier is the man. Troy Franklin, he's a baller, all speed, but could go in first round. He probably is going to go first round, guys. So Troy Franklin's probably out the question. I can see Xavier Legette falling to us and maybe some of those other guys. I think we could trade Miles Sanders for a second. You might be able to. The problem is someone going to be able to take that contract, and then we get hit with the dead cap at the end. You know what I mean? Bruh, I'm far from frustrated. I've seen this shit show since week 2. Go back and check Clay's tweet. Yeah. Marco's had enough after week 2. He was like, I'm out. It's like the same thing from Shark Tank. For that reason, I'm out. For that reason, I'm out. Tepper can't allow Fit to draft next year. No. Just waiting on the GM firing. Yep. It's time to fire Scott Fitterer, guys. It's time to fire Scott Fitterer. Oh, God. What is this? Bro, no one's going to give us a second for Sanders. They just need to give him the ball in space. I just think that he's better off as a catching back. He's not a downhill runner. So you just need to use him on third downs. Use Trubo in the first and second. You know, if you're going to run the ball, and then you put Miles Sanders in there on third down. I mean, kind of just do what like Washington does with Antonio Gibson and Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson's in there for first, second down. Throw him in there, and then throws Antonio Gibson in there on third downs because they use him in the space. You ain't getting no second for him. If they fire anyone, will you go live when they do it? Absolutely. I will put emergency Ropp Star press conference. Something. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Dude, 29 likes. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Y'all. Thank you for the 30 likes, guys. 30 likes. Appreciate that. Appreciate that. All right. We'll finish it off with a little Q&A. Q&A. What do you think is the hold on Scott's inevitable firing? Honestly, I don't know, Panda. I guess Tepper doesn't know who he's going to get because he's the one who has to hire the next guy. I think Tepper doesn't know who to get. I think that's one of the issues right there. I just don't think he knows who to get, who he wants to get. You know, I can send him my Madden resume, see if that checks out. You know, see if that checks out. I got the suits too to wear. You know, I could be, but I won't listen to him if he tries to tell me what to do. So he might not like that. He might not like that. Again, guys, if we get any GM, we need to go after. Again, we need to go after Adam Peters over there in San Francisco. So Panda, I don't know. I don't know what the holdup is. Unless Scott's got something on David, and Frank Wright's got something on David Tepper. We need a young head coach. Yes. We need a Ben Johnson. We need a Ben Johnson. Is what we need. We need a Ben Johnson and an Adam Peters, the assistant GM over there in San Fran. I think I went a little too. No, I got beard hair there. Oh, it's a little blurry. Oh, still stuffy, guys. Still coughing a little bit. Yeah, guys, I appreciate everyone joining the live stream. Make sure you pound the like button. We're at 29 likes. Love to finish this off with 30. Feel free to join the Discord. Use the link tree down below for all my links. Feel free to join me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Very active on all of those. Go check me out on BetUS. Go check out the BetUSA link. That is my go-to betting source. They hook it up. So every time you sign up, you get it. If you sign up today, you get 125% bonus on your first bet. So if you bet $100, you deposit $100, you bet 100, they'll match up to 125. So you're getting free money. So go check it out. They are awesome. So All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna hop off of here. Gonna do some game film breakdown tomorrow, and we'll have more stuff to talk about tomorrow. All right. So I really appreciate everyone joining the live stream. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I'm glad to be back. I really appreciate y'all continue showing your support. I appreciate y'all being patient with me and getting myself back to health. So I appreciate it. And always, guys, y'all know what to do. Keep pounding. Peace.